Hi there. Growing up, did you ever feel that you needed to withdraw? Did you feel overwhelmed by people sometimes? Do you still feel overwhelmed by people sometimes? Do you need to retreat? Do you find it all a bit much? A lot of empaths feel this way. Do you go out into the world and then need to retreat to re-energize and to recuperate and to restart? Do you feel a building tension in your body? A lot of women get this in cycles with their moon cycle, when they're feeling the extra weariness of the hormones that spike at that time of the month. They're not able to continue pushing down all of the disempowering programs that are constantly running. And so they become overwhelmed and they start to express a lot of negative emotions in their moon cycle. And this all comes out almost sometimes without control. And what we find is perfect opportunity to deal with subconscious programs. We can bring them out into the light. But today I particularly want to talk about something that a lot of you will relate to, and that is people pleasing. Now, when I was a little girl, my mother demonstrated to me that people pleasing was a necessary part of surviving in this world, that I needed to be all things for all people at all times when I was interacting with other human beings, that I needed to put my own needs aside, that I needed to suck up all of the poisonous programs, energies, thought programs that make me sick to my stomach, to my gut, and give me great shame unconsciously, subconsciously. And I needed to go into the world and please others, sacrifice my own well-being for the cause. And that way, I would be able to cope in life. This was the message I was given. And it's no fault of my mother's. Her mother demonstrated the same thing, and so forth, back into our ancestral history. And this is going to be the case for a lot of people today. But I want to tell you something. This is something that profoundly has changed my life fairly recently. Came out in shadow work, and it revealed to me that I had a program running. Now, when we're children, we're pretty fresh from source, from the unified field still. We remember things still. Might be subconscious, but we resonate with truth very clearly. And we still can as adults, but we have a lot more sort of shadow programs blocking our views from being able to see the truth. But when we're children, we know what feels right and what doesn't. But we're given programs that override that truth. And one of those is the people-pleasing program. Now, a lot of us, naturally, we seek love from our mother and we seek approval from our father. This is a natural program system that we tend to use as children. It's not particularly healthy because it's almost impossible to get that approval sometimes. For a lot of us, that approval never came, and it's insatiable, the approval program that that's programmed into us as children. There is no enough button or indicator or warning signal. It's relentless. We continue to drive ourselves and drain ourselves towards this need to give our energy to others. A lot of empaths experience this, and mistake empathic abilities with this trauma, which is the people-pleasing program. And I'm no different. And so when we're children, we receive this message that we are to take in these unhealthy, disempowering thought programs, energies, if you like, and they make us sick to our stomach. And I definitely experienced that. And this provides this shame. Now, for those of you who are familiar with David R. Hawkins and his scale of consciousness, we know that shame is the very bottom of the scale of consciousness. So if we want to remain connected and communing with Source, we're going to be needing to get out of shame. Shame is going to pull us straight out of that beautiful union with Source and take us away from love. So shame is probably the bottom of the pile when it comes to lower frequencies, lower vibrations. So the people-pleasing program is a problem because it keeps us in shame, because we know deep down that it's poisoning us. We feel sick to our stomachs about doing that. It doesn't feel right. So for a lot of children who received the people-pleasing program from a parent, they grow up into adulthood and they feel this mounting pressure that I mentioned earlier. This is a pressure to perform. This is a pressure to save others from not being pleased with you. Completely distorted. And this creates a growing tension in our physical bodies and causing all sorts of disease later in our lives. For me, that turned into a problem with my moon cycle. And a lot of women, we know how, when we're receiving that hormonal change once a month, we don't have the same strength to maintain the role or identity that we've been trying to play. We don't have the same strength to hold that mask on that says we're okay, that we can handle everything and still please others in the process. And so what we find is we become overwhelmed and these emotions come up, which is a perfect opportunity for shadow work and for healing. I would use that as much as you can. If you're a woman who experiences these mood fluctuations, there's definitely programs running that are disempowering, that are taking your power away. This is a beautiful, beautiful signal from nature, if you like, to say, hang on, something's out of balance. So use your moods to pluck out the weeds that are buried deep in the shadows. And this is a people-pleasing program. In my case, I had to deal with that in this way, shadow work. So what I found was that the inner child that first experienced and was shown that this is the program that I had to run, that I had to please others, the inner child wanted to know, well, what do I do instead? Okay, so you're telling me that this program is not the right way to do things, which I knew deep down inside the whole time. That's why I always had a conflict, an internal conflict. But what do I do instead? Now, first thing is to realize that if you want to be a sovereign being, you need to be aware of where you are giving away your energy, okay, without your conscious choice. We are not sovereign. We're not exercising our sovereignty as spiritual beings when we can become drained by an external force. So we need to be really familiar with connecting with Source, with recognizing that beautiful toroidal field that creates that strength in love, that strength in unity, that strength in peace, that strength in joy. We need to be able to recognize when we are in unity with Source, and that's when we truly are sovereign. And so as a people pleaser, that's not the program that was running. As a people pleaser, we would go out and seek the energy of others to feel whole. It was nothing to do with Source. Source would watch and go, okay, no, allow that, that being to learn something through this process. But Source is where it's at. This is where we receive our nurture. We do not want to go out into the world and seek energy from others. We want to seek that energy from Source directly. That's it. We're fed by Source, and that's it. So if you want to release and surrender that people-pleasing program that's draining you, that's making you sick, that's keeping you in fear, that's putting you in tension and pressure and the need to run away from people, if you want to get rid of all of that, then first be really good at connecting to source. Recognize when you are in your sovereign power as a multidimensional being. And then when you go out into the world and you interact with others, you can be able to see their toroidal field, see their connection with love, see that they are a being, a multidimensional being made of love. If you can begin to, with your spiritual eyes, see that others are also sovereign beings, even if they're not exercising it, but recognize that they have that potential outside of time and space. They are there already in their higher selves. If you can recognize that when you're looking at others, then you don't need to feel to please them. Does that make sense? When you can recognize that you are complete, then you don't need to feel to please you, because the program runs both ways like a mirror. So you can go out into the world, even on the days where you have your moon cycle, perhaps, go out into the world around people and see everybody as complete. No need to give them anything. And you know what happens is we become a witness. We become a representative of source. We transform those around us to become more of who they really are, more of that complete being of love, just by demonstrating it in ourselves and just by seeing it in others before it's even happened for them in this three-dimensional reality. And you become free. You no longer need to retreat. You no longer need to withdraw. Nobody takes your power away from you, and you don't give your power away. You are truly sovereign. So I hope this video has been informative. I think this really helped me a lot. Greatly. This was a massive healing for me personally. And I think this can be a beautiful message for others who have grown up with the people-pleasing program, seeking approval. It's very draining. So time to become conscious about that. Hold on to your power with source. If you like this video, please like, please share, please subscribe, and have a very beautiful day. See ya.